welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Ciriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I am your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, a little bit has changed since our last show. I am half vaxxed. That didn't stop me from enjoying some good baseball. I had a sore arm for the entire weekend. It was hard for me to lift the remote to change to another set of 4 different games to watch at a time. But you know what? We still got it done, and we're still here to put on a show.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in baseball, in a 162-game season, it's all about playing through the pain, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop with the podcasters of the baseball world.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it doesn't stop with the podcasters. You look at the guys on the field. I think it's 85% of players on teams have to be vaccinated for the team to be able to take the field. So obviously, you know that a lot of these guys have sore arms. Hard for them to just go like this. Obviously, I'm assuming no one's getting vaccinated in their throwing arm. I think that'd be very, very ill-advised. But you know what? They're doing it, and we're doing it too. I mean, we're basically the same. Yes,
one and the same.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to dole out here. But yeah, fun week of baseball that has occurred. One storyline just about ended, but it was a great storyline nonetheless, and we haven't really talked about them at all this season. The Oakland Athletics, after starting the season 1-7, they went on a 13-game win streak, 65% of, you know, the Moneyball win streak, but they won a lot of games in a row, and they are firmly ahead in the American League West.
Yeah, I mean, what a turnaround to start 0-6 and then 1-7 at the same time, and immediately turn that around. I mean, it wasn't like a 13 out of 15. It wasn't like a 17 out of 20. Like, they went straight to 13 in a row, and they're already in first place by a game and a half in the standings, I believe.
Yeah. They've got to be ahead of the Mariners. Yeah. Who have also gotten out to a very good start, you know, not as streaky.
Every time the Mariners are like out in front, I sorry to interrupt, but every time the Mariners are like out in front, the A's just come from nowhere.
Yeah, even in not 2002. That was the Angels, but yeah, the A's.
2018 is the most recent example.
2014
as well.
Yeah, I remember 2018 where the Mariners were like the sneaky wild card team, and then all of a sudden the A's just came right behind them and
just midsummer. Here comes Oakland. And they win 97 games.
Yeah, just came out of nowhere. But yeah, I mean, at first we were kind of worried about this team, but you know, and I feel like the A's usually get out to a slow start in general.
They do. Like, the A's have historically been a second half team. You know, the Moneyball team was very much a second half team. Obviously, I guess the 2014 A's can be the one outlier. By the way, the Dodgers were winning this Sunday night baseball game 7-1, I believe. It is no longer 7-1. Not even close.
Oh, wow.
It's at least 7-6. It could be 7-7. Chris, what is the score right now?
It's 7-7.
It's the Padres just tied the game. We're gonna get more into the whole series, but I mean, my God, just the moment you think we don't have an entertainment to Padres Dodgers, we have a blowout game. All of a sudden, 2 runs in the 7th, 2 runs in the 8th, 2 runs and counting in the 9th. Eric Hosmer is actually up right now with the go-ahead run on first. and Jimmy Nelson is in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we put Dodgers-Padres down in the prep sheet thinking that this Sunday night game was over, but no, not at all.
By the way, I know we're supposed to be talking about the A's, but like, do you have ESPN2 on right now?
ESPN2? No, I have.
Oh, dude, you're missing out because ESPN2 is showing the same game but with a StatCast broadcast.
Yeah, I think they do that. I think they do that frequently. I remember they had that for like.
They did it a couple times, but this is the first one of the year, and it's very revamped. Like I remember they did a whole thing on like Dustin May's like his the horizontal movement of his slider. Like it went up 5 inches between 2020 and 2021. Like that was very cool.
Dustin May, by the way, having a lot easier time striking guys out this year.
Yeah. I mean, even tonight alone, he
could be a potential. How about that later on?
2 hits, 1 walk. One of the hits being a home run to Fernando Tatis. Yeah. But anyway, back to the Oakland A's. Did you have a point you were on?
No.
Okay, so I'll just go through some of the big offensive performers. During the streak, Matt Olson pretty much led the way. He slashed 409, 460, 886 with a solid 8% walk rate, but even better, a 6% strikeout rate. Matt Olson is normally a big strikeout guy, and he was able to put the ball in play a lot of the time. And I know that strikeouts are very much up this year. They've been up every year since 2008 pretty much. But even when you have guys like Matt Olson that are, perennial 125 strikeouts a year, when you have him hitting the ball in play, like, good things are bound to happen. And of course, it's not just him, but that's just something that you can't not notice. He had 273 weighted runs created plus during the streak. Mark Canha, who is also one of the more underrated players in the game historically for the last 2 or 3 seasons combined, he slashed 302, 464, 488. And Jed Lowry, for his 3rd stint with the A's after being pretty much dead with the Mets, 319, 373, 596 with 3 home runs and 10 runs scored. One last person I'll mention is Seth Brown, a rookie who is slashing 276, 344, 621. Outside of Olsen, he is the best slugging percentage on the team throughout the streak.
Yeah.
He's been awesome.
Yeah, you have some offensive guys, guys who you expected to do well and guys who you didn't necessarily expect to do well, leading the way. And I mean, that's kind of the theme of the Oakland Athletics is they'll always just find new guys to produce.
They have some sort of like pixie dust that they just put on like Seth Brown, guys like that.
Yeah, it just always finds a way to happen. Jed Lowry goes to the Mets and is just injured for.
I think he played a total of 9 games with the Mets or something like that through 2 years.
It was a 2-year. Was it a 2-year deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, for 2 consecutive years, like he's just not on the field at all, and now all of a sudden he's like one of the biggest offensive contributors in the league in his late 30s. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's an A's thing. I mean, like he signed for a decent amount with the Mets too. I want to say it was like $10 million a year or something like that.
Yeah, and he had he was on a good trend, and then he hit Queens and it went away, and then he went back to the Bay, and he's back.
Exactly. I mean, it's back like he never left. Like he's still. I think the last year he was with the A's, he was an All-Star. Yeah, 2018. 2018, he's an All-Star with the A's. He then leaves for the Mets. Plays 9 games in 2019, slashes 000, 125, 000, 125. I'm pretty sure he opted out in 2020. Comes back in 2021, and now he's got a 153 weighted runs created plus. That was entering Sunday. It's changed now, but still.
It's unbelievable, and it doesn't stop with the offense. Obviously, with a 13-game win streak, you need everything going on all sides, and the A's found a way to improve their pitching. Obviously, when you think of the A's, you think of their bullpen. Starting out with some of those members, Diolis Guerra, 5 1/3 scoreless. Yusmeiro Petit went 8 innings, allowed 1 earned run. Jake Diekman, 7 2/3 innings pitched, only 1 earned run. Lou Trevino, who has established himself as a closer now, I'm pretty sure, 7 1/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run. And JB Wendelken, 7 1/3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Sean Manaea, on the starting side of things, 19 innings pitched, a 1.42 ERA during the streak. And, Chris Bassett and Frankie Montas were quality starters as well, with ERAs in the 3s during that win streak. So everything was moving along, and, it seems like, I didn't even really know how to feel. I still don't really know how to feel about the AL West yet.
Nobody does. Like, the Angels were up top one day or 1 week, and now they're like hovering around 500. The Astros were 4-0. Then they lost a bunch of games. The A's were 0-6, and now they're up there. The Mariners were in front for a while. Now they're in second, but they took 2 out of 4 from the Red Sox, so that was pretty good. The one constant has been, like, the Rangers are kind of just down there, but even still, like, they're hovering 500.
Yeah. Very, very interesting.
There's nobody knows what to think. It's been a month just about. We're about to, I guess, end the first month of the season. So who knows? Who knows what we got coming out of that division?
Yeah. Can't really get a gauge on that. But yeah, a good storyline. 13 games in a row for the Swingin' A's. And speaking of at least a guy who spent a lot of his career in the Bay Area in the National League, what seems like the first time has found success with his new team, Arizona, as he threw 77.7%, or I guess 77.8% of a no-hitter in an unofficial 7-inning no-hitter. Madison Bumgarner finally able to get the first one.
So we've obviously been having this discussion for a while about how a 7-inning no-hitter doesn't, it's not recognized as an official no-hitter by MLB standards. And I was very worried that we were just going to get one day and someone was just going to get screwed out of one. But I'm happy it happened to Madison Bumgarner, because I genuinely don't think he cares.
Yeah.
Like, if you see the reaction from him today as he gets the no-hitter, he's kind of just like awkwardly smiling. Like, his teammates are all crowding him and being all excited. He has the least amount of energy there. It wouldn't surprise me if that was his reaction to actually throwing a 9-inning no-hitter.
Yeah.
And did you see the post-game press conference with him as well?
No, I did not.
So he did a post-game, like a thing on TV, obviously, with the, as soon as he comes off the field. And he said, before he got off, he was like, I'm going to say these 2 things, and I'm going to go celebrate with the guys. I'd like to thank the Shadows in Atlanta today for helping me out. And I'd like to thank Rob Manfred for making these games 7 innings.
That's hilarious. I didn't know he had that.
Nobody did. Like, that was the first time he showed any sort of personality outside of, like, looks like a redneck Mason Saunders dirt bike accident guy.
Yeah, like that's hilarious.
Yeah, like that's like, clearly, like, I'm happy that it happened to him, because it doesn't really seem like he cares too much. I mean, no, I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's like, what? I think he's kind of just rolling with it. He's obviously been in a slump since he got it to Arizona, whether it be injuries, whether it be performance. And I think just the ability to go out there and shove today against a really good offense in the Atlanta Braves, only hold him to obviously no hits. The whole team held him to 1 hit over the 2 doubleheader games. I think that's really just what he's happy about.
Yeah. Finally getting back on track. Yeah, it's cool to see him, or obviously I think if Zach Greinke threw one of these, we would have had some fun things to talk about. Just because also he had that quote about, like, when he almost had a no-hitter and he was like, yeah, I don't think I really wanted to do that. That meant more press for me, and I don't want to deal with all that.
He's going to have the most anticipated Hall of Fame speech of all time.
Yeah, yeah, he will.
He's going to be like, I'm going to be honest, I didn't want them to vote me in.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to get up here and make this speech in Cooperstown.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't want to travel all the way here from I'm assuming he's from like the West Coast. It's like
That would be. I mean, where is he originally from?
I had to, yeah, he had to take like 2 connecting flights to get there. He'll talk about that.
Hang on, where's Zach Greinke? Like, he's from Florida.
Oh, he's from Florida.
I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, he loves the sunsets in Arizona. We know that. He plays in Texas right now. Has he ever pitched for a team east of the Mississippi? I don't think he has.
No, I mean, Milwaukee is west
I think so.
of the Mississippi. Yeah, not an East Coast pitcher after all the teams he's been on. Of course, he's been on Royals, Brewers, Angels, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Astros, but nothing in the East. But yeah, it would have been funny to see him just toss a 7-inning no-hitter and have basically the same reaction as Bumgarner did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on. I think Milwaukee might actually be east of it. Yeah, I think Wisconsin is like the cutoff state. Okay, but so yeah, never mind. He has, but it was only for
a year and a half.
A year and a year and a half. Yeah, he threw 294 and 2/3 innings, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. About like 10% of his innings, maybe.
Yeah.
Ish, if that. But yeah, very interesting no-hitter. Kind of funny how it all panned out.
And I'll admit it, like I didn't say this on the record, but I was kind of writing him off after his first few starts of the season.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you kind of had to go back to like how comfortable he looked in AT&T Park, or as it was at the time, now Oracle Park. But he seemed like a pitcher that was very comfortable there, very comfortable with the Giants, and maybe the new change of scenery was just going to end up being too much for him. I mean, it could still be the case, but I mean, when you no-hit one of the best lineups in baseball for 7 innings, that's an extremely good sign.
Yeah, and by the way, like while we're on that topic, we talked last week about the Braves and Yankees both struggling. I think we know which one of them is in better shape right now. That is the New York Yankees.
Yeah, Yankees. Yeah, Yankees are coming back. They did pretty well against the Indians, I'm pretty sure.
They won 3 out of 4.
Yeah, won 3 out of 4. So, and yeah, we talked about them last week and like what they need to do, and they got the Orioles and Tigers coming up, and I feel like they're gonna use that momentum to their fullest. But yeah, I'm looking at Bumgarner's game logs. I didn't realize he had a pretty good start against the Nationals also.
He did. He had that was the one before the no-hitter, was it not?
Yep.
He did all right there.
But the first 3 games all consisted of 5 runs or more in 5 or fewer innings. Not good at all.
No.
And this was after a year where he had let me look at the ERA. He had a 6.48 ERA last year.
Mm-hmm.
After never having an ERA above 4 in his career. That's what it was last year. So obviously you could see where people could be alarmed. But yeah. Interesting to see that out of Madison Bumgarner. I mean, the next thing we have on the prep sheet is talking about Dodgers-Padres, but I mean, it's not done yet.
It's not done. We thought it'd be done, but then we forgot it was a Padres-Dodgers game and that everything has to be crazy.
Yeah, literally everything. I mean, it was 7-1. It was 7-1.
Yeah. It was 7-1 in the 7th inning. Who came in for the Dodgers and ended up giving all the runs up? Price gave up 2, but only 1 was earned. Gratterall gave up 2. Your guy Victor Gonzalez did pretty well, but then Jimmy Nelson was the one who blew it effectively.
Very, very interesting. I mean, I guess they didn't have as much. They've been using a lot of bullpen guys as of late, so they probably wanted to rest like Kenley Jansen.
Yeah.
But not working out for them. It's the bottom, as
bottom of the ninth. Mookie Betts is up, man on first, 1 out.
Yeah. It could obviously end in the bottom of this inning, but, and then if not, then we get men on second every inning, which is going to be something. But I guess, if this game ends, we can if the game ends during the recording, we can go back to that. But I guess we should probably just get into how about that's and slightly alarming.
Are the Padres going to 4-game sweep if they win this?
No, the Dodgers won.
Oh yeah, the Dodgers won yesterday in the comeback. Either way, I mean, yeah, Dodgers need to salvage a split here, but the Padres, regardless of, and we kind of said this last week, even with the Dodgers winning 2 out of 3, but like the Padres can absolutely hang with this Dodgers team.
Yeah, right. I mean, very much so. Even in the games that they've lost, they've been right there with them. It's never looked like an outclassing of any sort. But yeah, you wouldn't have known on social media that the Dodgers won yesterday because the whole world was talking about Fernando Tatis Jr.,
which was awesome. I mean, like that whole thing was so cool. Like he does the covering up the one eye after hitting the first home run to mock Bauer, and then he does the McGregor strut. And of course, I knew Bauer was going to be for it, and that's fine. But then, you saw the whole thing on social media today, right?
Yeah. Apparently, Tatis Jr. was looking in at catcher signs from the batter's box, which some people have a problem with. I probably wouldn't. It's just, it seems kind of ineffective at some
even if he did, like he hit a pitch out of the zone to dead center for a home run.
Yeah, that's one of those things where pitcher says like, I made a good pitch and he hit it out. That's actually kind of true in this scenario.
Yeah. Like, no, that's very true. Like that pitch isn't supposed to be hit out, especially to left center. Like he pulled it.
Yeah. That's supposed to be like, if anything, that's a, traditional Yankee Stadium home run.
Yeah, like that's the pesky pull home run.
Yeah, a pesky pull right around there, 310-foot homer.
Yeah, no, he hit it to dead left center.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing on social media where Bauer was like, wow, like if you need to know the pitches, just ask me. And he sent like the Photoshop of like him holding a baby with Bauer's face on it.
Yeah, Bauer. It was a baby. It was probably like Tatis's like little cousin or nephew or niece or whatever. And it had Bauer with one eye closed photoshopped onto it. Very good stuff. I mean, Bauer definitely loves it. He loves the marketing of all of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's great when you can grow the game, except for when people want to stream their local team or people want to show emotion on the field.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is funny that those were the only 2 earned runs Bauer gave up.
Yeah.
Tatis homers. He actually ended up with a decent start. It was 6 innings, 2 earned. That's a 3 ERA on the day. But yeah, I did notice that like the blackout, there's a lot more people in their replies saying like, we need to end blackouts. I've seen
maybe that's a good sign though. Like maybe that's more people catching on to baseball that want to catch on to baseball. It's like, hey, we can't watch this game. Like if you're in Southern California right now, you can't. I mean, I guess you can watch Padres Dodgers tonight because it's on ESPN, but you can't watch it. You can't watch the regular weekend games with Don Orsillo on MLB TV.
Yeah. I mean, like social media can be somewhat powerful and things like that. I mean, if they wanted to change things, like you might have to try. I don't know if you could try a boycott out, but I don't think it would be very effective. But
I mean, my guess is that like the blackouts are like in the contracts they have with cable networks, and that's why they still exist. But like if there was a time to even just experiment with getting rid of them, like why not do it in a pandemic? Like last year would have been perfect. People can't go to the games anyway. Now most people can't go to the games. It's a capacity limit. Some people might not want to because of COVID risks. Why not experiment with no blackouts right now? And also, have you ever noticed the MLB TV free game of the day is always like a Pirates Twins game?
Yeah, it is.
It's always like, oh, congrats, you get a free game today. Enjoy Tigers versus Orioles.
Yeah, it usually seems like that.
It's always a very insignificant game that usually just doesn't mean anything in the long run.
Yeah, it's never Dodgers-Padres or Red Sox-Yankees.
Yeah, no. It's always got to be just the one that's like it's like if you ever watch Quick Pitch, they always have the one game that they show the highlights of like at the very end after like the trivia and everything. And it's like just like a random insignificant game. It's always that's always the free game of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Always, yeah, it's like one of the 7 o'clock games going on that night.
Mm-hmm. Like the one you might have missed because there was just no highlights. Like it wasn't a walk-off win or anything. It wasn't two teams that are like household name teams, I guess. Games going to extras, by the way.
Your team is already probably playing in that time slot anyway.
Yeah, it's like a random 6-1 game with like 8 walks.
Exactly.
And like 17 strikeouts.
Yeah. Both teams had openers going.
Yeah.
It's just a disaster.
It had a game time of like 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
It was just a disaster.
There was a siren delay in the middle.
Yeah. The power went out.
Yeah. The power went out. They had to delay for half an hour because of it.
There was a cool moment where the fans like got the flashlights on their phones going. It was just that was the highlight of the game.
Yeah, that's really what you got out of that MLB TV free game of the day. But yeah, I saw that was kind of more of a trend this past week or so. But yeah, we're not fans of the blackouts. No one really is, but I did hear that they might be also involved with like players like with like the player union, but maybe that's something to bring up in the new CBA is the blackouts.
Yeah.
I know like Momentum has like end blackout t-shirts. So I know some players are kind of active in not enjoying the blackouts, but it's not like a mainstream concern as of yet.
Like I get the whole, I understand that, but I think the one worry I have and the point you just made is I don't know how many like players are going to be for like Trevor Bauer representing them in this. Like, I don't know how the whole negotiations work, but I know that a lot of players aren't exactly a fan of like the Momentum stuff and like the filming all the stuff and like some of his more personal side that he's shown on Twitter and whatnot. I mean, like, I don't know. I just don't know how some players are going to feel about that.
Yeah. I know some players just get annoyed with that. Some fans get annoyed with that. Yeah, it is weird. I mean, he's someone who markets himself, but sometimes people feel that he probably over markets himself.
I mean, sometimes he said some very questionable things, whether it be years ago or whether it's like in the very recent past. Like he's said some things that have kind of rubbed people the wrong way on Twitter.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're when you put yourself out there a lot. But yeah, so yeah, the TV blackouts, not the greatest, but that's very, very much above us.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do anything about that.
I mean, I'm sure you saw the MLB TV is like this has been the most streamed season so far. Like people have watched like 1.3 billion minutes of it. Like we've seen the most, like the 20 most watched days ever and the 7 most watched games ever this year. And I mean, the whole general, like everyone's first reaction when seeing this is like, what does this look like when people can watch their regional teams?
Yeah. I mean, I think that might be a trend in like this becoming more player driven. I think younger fans aren't thinking about necessarily their team only. They're also thinking about, oh, I want to see Fernando Tatis Jr. play tonight. I want to see Ronald Acuna Jr. Out there playing tonight. I want to see what Jacob deGrom has to offer for the Nationals lineup tonight. I think it's very I think fans are more interested in the players in general these days than they were years ago, rather than just following their team.
This might, I was going to say, like, this might sound like a take, but I think a lot of younger fans are slowly becoming more interested in what the whole league has to offer rather than their own team.
Yeah.
Like, even as a fan of a team that is doing particularly well this year, like, there are times where I find myself more intrigued in a different game. Like, I'm not ashamed to admit that. Like, if Fernando Tatis Jr. is going off and the Red Sox are winning 7-1, yeah, I might change the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the MLB recognizes that, and we've talked about it before. This is the most young talent that the league has had in a very long time, so that definitely plays a factor in that.
The league is interesting. Like the amount of, I mean, like the MLB iceberg is at like an all-time like accessibility rate, if that makes any sense. Like if you want to get all of the data you possibly can, it's available to you. Whether that's on Fangraphs, whether that's on Baseball Reference, Baseball Savant, Retro Sheet, wherever you want to go, like it's all there. Like anyone can essentially be an analyst now. Like I think that's the beauty of what baseball has become in the statistical revolution, and people want to see as much of it as possible so they can form their own arguments and make their cases. And a lot of that just can't happen with regional blackouts.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, just to the general point is, it makes it, all the wealth of information out there definitely makes it easier for people like us. It's not just up to a research team at ESPN or MLB Network. Now I can just go and take a look at a particular guy's walk rate or chase rate on Baseball Savant and determine what's been going on. Even if I haven't seen one plate appearance of theirs, I can kind of see what's going on there. But I guess that kind of leads into how about that's.
Yeah, I mean, there's one last point, like you were mentioning. Anyone can follow. Like if you see a stat on Twitter, like you don't have to be a journalist to look that up.
Yeah,
like all the time I will see, and it's being a journalist is all about getting it first, pretty much in that instance. But like, I'll see a stat sometimes on Twitter where it's like this person is the first to do that, and I'll Google it. And it's right there. Like it's a matter of who wants it, who gets it first.
Yeah. It's
like anyone theoretically can do it, but sometimes you got to pay for it, and that's that is what it is.
Yeah, and sometimes, like with Elias Sports Bureau, you have no idea how to get to it.
Yep. Well, I feel like Elias might be just the one where it's like, only certain people can access this database.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what money you have available for the website. They're just like, nah,
that's a private club.
Yep, it is. StatHead is trying their best, but
we still slip through the cracks.
Yes.
So that's a shame. By the way, the Padres are pinch hitting a pitcher right now. Ryan Weathers is batting in the top of the 10th inning with 2 guys on and 1 out.
I'm guessing
their bench is empty.
So I'm guessing it's for a different pitcher.
It probably is. Emilio, it must be it's the 9 spot right now. And it's either that or Emilio Pagan bats.
And I guess they'd rather have a starter hit than a reliever, because at least a starter gets in a couple plate appearances a game.
A reliever does not. But also, like, Ryan Weathers might just be going. When was the last time he pitched? I think Wednesday.
He started on Wednesday. So I guess he's coming out. in relief.
Sounds about right. I could be wrong. Maybe it's Thursday.
I would have thought that he'd be starting, or no, he started on Thursday, I think.
Yeah, he started on Thursday.
Because Lamet came back on Wednesday.
He pitched 5 2/3 on Thursday. Yeah, he pitched. He threw 89 pitches. This is going to be like a 2-inning relief appearance max.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what.
Because supposedly Lamet is coming back again. Like, he got hurt, but now he's good again, and it's a very weird thing.
It is very weird, but that's other people's expertise. But yeah, we'll get into the how about that. Players to highlight for good and bad reasons. So our Monday, April 26th edition of How About That? What players do you have to highlight for good reasons?
So I have a player that I did a pretty deep dive on today, and I found a lot of cool information. This is not by any means a low-profile guy. Everyone should know this guy, but he's been performing extremely well this year, and it is Evan Longoria. He's listed as day-to-day right now with some hamstring issues, but in the time he's played, he's been making the most of his age 35 season. He's slashing 291, 391, 582, 972 against, and particularly, he is destroying the ball against left-handers. He is slashing 500, 667, 1313 for a 1979 OPS in 24 plate appearances against left-handed pitchers. That's for a 741 WOBA and a 374 weighted runs created plus, which honestly feels low. Like 1979 OPS, and it's only a 374 weighted runs created plus. That should be a lot higher, it feels like. All of those lead the majors against lefties, except for the batting average, which is 500. He is in the 100th percentile in hard hit percentage with a 68.3, the 98th percentile in exit velocity with a 96.1, 97th percentile in expected slugging with a 709, 96th percentile ex-WOBA with a 458, 95th percentile chase rate. It's 16.3, and last year it was 27.8, which was 47th percentile. 94th percentile barrel percentage with a 19.5, and 92nd percentile expected batting average with a 326. So all of his expected statistics are actually higher than his regular statistics. So it seems like he's getting unlucky. And Longoria was a guy at the beginning of the season I mentioned was about 2 solid seasons away from really being a serious Hall of Fame candidate. So he's obviously making the most of it right now. And I actually have a lot more on that. And you can check it out in my article for Diamond Digest, which will hopefully be posted today.
Yeah. By the way, program announcement. Daniel Curran has a nice spot with Diamond Digest now. So yeah, be on the lookout for some content being produced on that very good website.
Absolutely.
From Mr. Curran. But yeah. Yeah, very good analysis there. I have 2 how about that's. I didn't go
There we go.
I didn't go too deep on either one. So I figured I'd do 2, and I actually picked these 2 because I picked them for very, very similar reasons. One of them was not age, because they're actually pretty different on the age scale, but their improvements have been very similar. So the first man I am mentioning, it seems like he's finally doing it this year. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We got to talk about him.
Yeah, we do.
It seems like he's breaking out after 2, somewhat disappointing years in his career. This year, starting out hitting 338 with a 1035 OPS. And his OPS was about 100 points higher like 2 days ago. He's just had a couple bad games. His walk rate, and this is what's particularly fascinating, his walk rate has more than doubled from last season. It's gone from 8.2% to 17.6%. This is largely due to his chase rate going down from 24.6% in 2020 to 17.9% this year. Very much more disciplined, a much more disciplined version of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. this season, which is very good to see, because when you thought of him, you thought of kind of a an aggressive, free swinging kind of guy. Now he has a lot more plate discipline, and it seems to be working out in his favor. He's also in the 91st percentile in all of baseball in chase rate. So he's selecting the correct pitches. And he also, from a historical perspective, he has 4 multi-walk games already. And the last player 22 or younger to do that in their team's first 18 games was Bryce Harper in 2015.
How about that?
Anytime you're comparing Bryce Harper's 2015, you know it's good.
Yeah, you know, when you're thinking Bryce Harper's 2015, you're thinking of some quality hitting. Guy won an MVP that year. Unanimously. And no one has had a better OPS plus in a season since, outside of Soto in the 60-game season. So I don't know if we're counting that, but yeah. And my second how about that player, not quite 22, but in his late 30s, but doing extremely well this year too. Yuli Gurriel, first baseman for the Astros. He's hitting .333 with a 10-11 OPS. He never had a walk rate above 6%. He never had a walk rate above 6% until this year, where that walk rate is 18.4%. It's more than tripled his career high. It's pretty unbelievable to see, actually. You know, I guess it's a somewhat small sample size, but it's been about 20 games, and he's more than tripled his career high in walk rate. And his chase rate has gone from 34.4% in 2020 to 26.9% this year. So, you know, in 2020, he was in the 15th percentile for chase rate, which is, you know, he was one of the least disciplined hitters out there. This year, it's 50th percentile. So he's kind of average in terms of discipline, but in terms of walks, he's getting them very, very well at 18.4%. Almost 1 out of every 5 plate appearances for Gurriel is a free pass. So two guys that have decided to, hang back on some more pitches, and it's working out well for them. So now we go from the highs to the lows, where we're going to highlight a player or just a general subject that is not doing particularly well. So our Monday, April 26th edition of
Slightly alarming.
All right. So who is on your docket for unsuccessful subjects this week?
So before I get into my slightly alarming, I just want to clear the air and say, we always talk about Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s like disappointing first couple seasons in the majors. The fact of the matter is, Chris, he had a 109 OPS plus in his first 2 seasons, and he had a 106 OPS plus in 2019. It's the fact that he had so much expectations placed on him that's like he's going to come up and he's going to be a 150 OPS hitter at age 20, and he's going to be just like his dad. And, you know, it takes patience. And honestly, when you really look at it from a statistical level, he's actually kind of exceeded the usual growing pains that young prospects go through when they first get to the majors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is funny that we do talk about like disappointment and like it kind of came up with Bryce Harper too. Kind of funny that they're paralleled when they kind of had the same stat. But yeah, like you look at a guy like, you know, Joe Adell, you know, he's had some pretty major struggles, and you can't really blame the guy because he's 20, 21 years old. Maybe it's just that there have been guys recently that have had major success immediately, like to name a few, Fernando Tatis Jr., Ronald Acuna Jr., Juan Soto, like those three guys, like, but that's not normal at all. So
no,
we can't really expect that out of
for every Juan Soto, there's a Dylan Carlson who struggled last year, but he's been doing very well this year.
Yeah, like it's hard to I mean, it's hard to be a good MLB player by the age of 25, never mind 20.
Yeah. The Padres intentionally walked 2 consecutive batters to load the bases with 1 out. And the batter for the Dodgers is what? Are you seeing this, Chris? You want to take a look at who the batter is for the Dodgers with the bases loaded? and 1 out to
Oh
win
my
the game.
god. Should we pause? Should we pause this and?
Yeah, Chris, you got to give the play-by-play here.
All right.
I don't have the game. You do.
All right. So we're looking at Clayton Kershaw. We got 1 out with the bases loaded. We got is that Tim Hill on the mound?
Yeah.
Tim Hill. Kershaw coming in with a career 392 OPS. Looking
929 this year.
Yeah. Oh, 929 this year. So he's on a good
By the way,
trend.
have we had a pitcher homer this year at all? Besides Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah. Well, Phillip Evans. No.
Phillip Evans.
Phillip Evans, who was a position player who came in to pitch a 1-2-3 inning.
Also homered in the same game.
So, yeah, we got Clayton Kershaw. It's a 1-0 count. Hill delivers the sidearm 89-mile-per-hour fastball outside 2-0.
Oh, my God.
Kershaw also, already this year, has had a bases-loaded walk delivered by Yu Darvish, in which a game was later won by the Dodgers 2-0. So, you want to see plate discipline. You look at a guy like Clayton Kershaw. Just took a strike, a nice 2-0 fastball. So, yeah, 2-1. You got Clayton Kershaw up there with Tim Hill on the hill. Oh, didn't mean to do that.
Yeah,
he fouls one back. 2-2 count. I mean, if Clayton Kershaw delivers the walk, like, when was the last time a starting pitcher? Oh yeah, didn't he? Was it a suicide squeeze or something like that?
But there's 2 outs here, I think, right? Or there's 1 out, right?
Yeah, there's 1 out. I guess they didn't give the sign. I guess they have enough confidence in Kershaw's hitting ability. It's a fastball lined towards the third base dugout for a foul ball. And it remains 2-2.
So he's gone 3 sinkers and 2 fastballs here in this at-bat.
Yeah, everything upper half of the zone so far. So I'm guessing those sinkers were probably mistakes. I would imagine he's going for the double play. Because if he puts one on the ground, that's got to be 2 with, Kershaw's.
I think his mindset is just get the sinker over the plate and in the zone, because if he hits it, it's probably going on the ground. And he's obviously not a great hitter. He's a pitcher. So it could be 2. And he's not fast either, so he's not beating it out.
Yeah, from the looks of it, he seems like he's missing location a little bit because he's going like upper half of the zone, which you don't want in a ground ball situation. And he strikes him out.
Wow.
So we got 2 out here.
Who is
I don't know who you got coming up next.
Who's in the 7 hole?
Pollock, maybe?
What? Who is this guy? DJ Peters.
DJ Peters. Of all the Dodgers, I really don't know who DJ Peters is.
Is he making his debut tonight? No, he made his debut 2 days ago.
So this guy, number 38.
He has 4 at-bats. He has never reached base safely, and now he's coming up. He could have his Tony Renda moment.
Yeah, even more significant.
Yeah.
He takes a fastball about 2 feet above the strike zone. And it's 1-0.
DJ Peters walks it off here. The Dodgers have had so many no names come up and produce for them this year. Like Zach McKinstry has been very big as a rookie. Luke Raley hit some big home runs earlier in the last series. And now you got DJ Peters up there to walk it off on Sunday Night Baseball after an incredible game.
Yeah, if he's the guy to do it. Yeah, it's 1-1 now. We just fouled off a pitch to the right side of the field. Yeah, I mean, I remember in 2019 when they had 3 rookies in a row walk it off. Who was it? It was
Matt Beattie, Will Smith, and Alex Verdugo.
Yeah.
Not in that order. Oh, well, Peters grew up in Glendora, California. He was drafted by the Cubs in the 36th round, but he didn't sign. The last time he was drafted was by the Dodgers in the 4th round in 2016 out of Western Nevada College.
Mm-hmm. So, a 4th rounder, that's a pretty good player.
All things considered.
I think Bobby Dahlbeck was a 4th rounder.
Yeah. Mookie Betts was a 5th rounder, I believe. Or he was a 2nd rounder.
Right. Out of high school.
Yeah.
So I guess if he went to college, it would have been a little bit higher.
That's true.
Peters took a fastball that was inches outside of the strike zone.
This guy slash 243, 378, 432, 810 in spring training. So he knows how to walk. That'd be pretty big right now.
And he takes ball 3.
Oh my God.
Look at that. Full count.
I'm calling it walk-off walk. It's gonna happen.
I mean, yeah.
This guy had a really good walk rate in spring training. Tim Hill has kind of been wild. He took Kershaw to two balls. Now he's taking this guy to 3 balls. I think we're gonna see one more mistake and win the game.
3-2, bases loaded, 2 outs. Hill comes set. He delivers the pitch. It is fouled to the right side, and that looks like that'll be out of play.
Oh my God. See, I can't see the TV with you blogging it, so I'm like, this is a radio call for me.
I mean, I don't even know if you could see. You'd have to have a pretty big screen to see what's happening.
I can see the TV. Let me pin your video here. Yeah, I could see it.
It might be backwards too.
Here.
I mean, we're trying to fill airspace, but I think we're doing
impromptu calling a game.
We're doing somewhat well.
Yeah.
Although whoever's listening to this already can look up the results of this game. Bases loaded. He comes set, fires, swing and a miss.
Oh, that was ball 4.
And we head to the 11th.
Wow.
Well, good time to start some slightly alarming statistics.
Mm-hmm.
As we get going. So who do you have to highlight?
This one hurts, Chris. Sometimes as a fan, if there are very rare moments where you have sort of a personal connection to a guy, and you know what? Sometimes you got to be unbiased and call them out when they aren't doing so well. Massachusetts native Nick Ahmed has been struggling at the plate. As late, he collected 3 hits in the doubleheader today, combined in the 2 games, to raise his slash line to 128, 163, 170, 334. The one thing that I've really taken away from his stats so far is that 38.7% of his batted balls are going to the opposite field, and his season high is 25.7%. He's not a push hitter, but he's been this year. And the issue is that only one of his hits this year has gone to right field, and most of his batted balls are going to right field. Only one of them has actually landed. So my immediate thought was like, he must be seeing more fastballs if he's just, pushing the ball the other way more. And he's seen 54.7% fastballs, which is the exact same that he saw in 2020. So he must just be late on more pitches. Maybe he's trying to take a different approach. Whatever it is, it hasn't been working offensively. And he's never been known as a great hitter, but I mean, he's much better than a 128, 163, 173, 34. And I mean, hey, he had a really good day today, so I believe that he can get it going today, but right now it's not looking great.
Yeah, must be some weak right side contact from him. But yeah, hopefully he can turn it around. Not to pile on, but I believe his error today caused the Bumgarner no-hitter to not be a perfect game, because Bumgarner had 0 walks. Not to pile on,
but he's a great defensive player, and that's just a one-time mistake. That's just I think he's still in the 97th percentile in outs above average this year.
Yeah, he's one of the best out there. He's a Gold Glove winner.
Yeah.
But, but yeah, my slightly alarming, and by the way, Nick Ahmed,
slightly alarming.
My slightly alarming is a guy who, was mentioned when people were talking about potential rookie of the years, Ryan Mountcastle. He's hitting 167 with a 472 OPS. His whiff rate is up 6.5%, and his strikeout to walk ratio has gone from 2.7 in 2020 to 8 in 2021. So for this year, for every 8 strikeouts, there is only one walk. From
one walk, there's 8 strikeouts.
Yeah, one walk for every 8 strikeouts for Ryan Mountcastle, which is pretty alarming. And his whiff rate, particularly on off-speed pitches, which is what Savant considers mostly splitters and changeups. Nothing that's breaking, but nothing that is just a straight fastball or a sinker or a two-seam fastball or a cutter. The ones that just kind of die, those off-speed pitches. His whiff rate on those has gone from 32.4% to 61.6%. It's almost doubled, which is pretty crazy to consider. Obviously a somewhat small sample size, but maybe they found pitchers found a weakness and are attacking him. But 61.6% whiff rate on off-speed pitches is just, it's not slightly alarming. It's very alarming. But for this week, I'm giving Ryan Mountcastle a
slightly alarming.
So yeah, we'll see how he recovers. But was a guy who was talked about a bit. We talked about him in our previews, but not going well for him thus far. Could improve, of course. But yeah, those were our players to highlight for good and bad reasons. I guess we'll get into the preview of the week and weekend ahead, because we're going to go by the way, we're going once a week until our school year ends, and then we'll probably get right back to twice a week. But what are you looking at for this upcoming week/weekend?
So in the week, I'm looking at Phillies versus Cardinals in St. Louis. These are both teams that are hovering 500 that I think are kind of below expectations as of right now. The Phillies bullpen has kind of remained the Phillies bullpen. Today they gave up 12 runs to the Rockies. That was not a good performance. And then the Cardinals, they've been doing better lately, but it's still, Paul Goldschmidt's got to get going. Nolan Arenado still hasn't really been himself. The whole offense just is very questionable. The rotation started out very bad, but they're getting better. And I'm looking at these two because they're matching up this week. And we got Zach Wheeler versus Adam Wainwright on Monday. I think the Phillies are in favor there. And from there, we have Zach Eflin versus Carlos Martinez on Tuesday. And then we have to be determined versus Johan Oviedo for the Cardinals. I believe that's how to say it.
Oviedo.
Yeah, it's a 4-game series, and then Aaron Nola is going to pitch game 4 against to be determined for the Cardinals. So it's a 4-game series, and then during the weekend, I'm looking at a matchup of a playoff rematch from last year. I'm looking at Dodgers versus Brewers at American Family Field. The Brewers are in first place in the NL Central. I put a lot of expectations on them this year, and it's going to be a big test, especially because I'm assuming Corbin Burns is going to be going on the last day of that series. So that's obviously a very exciting matchup no matter what. But I don't think any starters have been – the problem with previewing the weekend right now is that no starters have been announced. It's going to be a 4-game series in Milwaukee. But Woodruff and Burns are going to pitch the last 2 games for Milwaukee. Walker Buehler is probably going to pitch one of them as well.
Yeah, some horses are going to be going at it in that one for sure. For this particular Monday through Wednesday little series, I'm looking at kind of 2 teams that are somewhat underperforming. You could debate whether one team is underperforming or not, but one of the teams we definitely had higher expectations for, and we both had them in the playoffs, and they've been performing pretty badly as of late. This Monday through, I believe, Monday through Wednesday series, Cleveland versus
Oh,
Minnesota.
Never mind.
Yeah, Cleveland versus Minnesota. Yeah, the Twins have, I believe, lost 10 out of 12 or something like that. So I'm looking to see how they're able to perform against a division foe. The Indians are coming off a bad series against the Yankees as well. So, let's see if they're going to recover. I'm particularly kind of looking at what Kenta Maeda can do because, he has a 6.11 ERA this year. He's going to be facing a pretty, let's say, a bad Indians lineup. So I'm seeing if he can recover against a generally poor lineup. So I think I think that's going to be an interesting series. It'll be a test for both teams as to kind of where they're at in their current state. And the Twins are probably going to have to get going. Over the weekend, this next weekend, a particularly interesting series, I think, is Padres-Giants. Because the Giants they currently have a better record than the Padres, no matter the result of this game that is going to be ending, at some point tonight. The Giants have a 14-8 record. The Padres, as of right now, this recording, are 12-11, potentially 12-12 or 13-11. But Giants currently have a better record. But yeah, I'm curious to see as to what the Giants are able to do against them. The Giants are just kind of a mystery team, man. I never know what to think.
I'm telling you, they were my sleeper team in the NL. Don't sleep on them.
I mean, so last year was their offense that was surprising, but this year their offense is a 93 OPS plus. Yeah. Now their pitching has a 131 ERA plus.
Yeah, that's right.
So this team has no identity, but they just figure out a way to win. That's their identity.
They're taking it game by game, Chris. Sometimes it's Mike Yastrzemski. Lots of times it's Kevin Gausman. Johnny Cueto has been having his comeback campaign. The bullpen is very meh, but that's all right. The Padres just scored a run.
Aaron Sanchez looking like his 2016 self.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex Wood, 2 starts, 1 run allowed in 12 innings. It's just wild. Yeah, the bullpen's looking. You have some good.
Matt Whistler's got a solid 10.5 ERA.
Yeah,
it's making me look like a genius.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, Tyler Rogers, 13 2/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run. It's just the Giants, man. They're becoming sort of like the A's, but at least the A's kind of have more of an identity. The Giants, you just don't know how it's going to happen, but
that's okay. You don't need to right now. You figure that out as you go. That's why you play 162 of these.
And they're playing the Padres this next weekend, who definitely have an identity. You know them as one of the most talented teams in baseball. So
and it's in the Bay.
No, it is. It's at Petco once again. Even though they already played at Petco.
I assumed it was in the Bay because they already played at Petco, huh?
Yeah. They're playing at Petco again. So
that's awfully weird.
Interesting. It would have been more intriguing if it were at the Bay. But that'll be an interesting series for sure. Just kind of a band of characters versus, one of the more hyped and talented teams in baseball. Will be fun to watch. So that pretty much does it. The Padres are up 8-7 now. Pretty much does it for the episode. Very, very interesting episode from Above Replacement Radio.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this one. If you want to follow us, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to our YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Also check out the playlists, history series stuff, even Hall of Fame breakdowns for the bubble cases all the way back then.
Yeah.
Get your Hall of Fame get your Hall of Fame
in April
in early. Yeah, only about 9 months away till Hall of Fame elections. So.
Hey, it's never too early to start talking Hall of Fame.
Never. So yeah, take a look at all that. And if you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_current, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope you will enjoy the next one, which will be on Monday, a week from now on Monday, where we're talking all the stuff, all the happenings in Major League Baseball. See you then.
This conversation is over.